Hey everyone, so I'm going to do an analysis on the NASDAQ today and the Dow Jones. And if you watch my last video on how to spot a stock market crash before it happens, we're seeing some of those red flags in the stock market right now. So I would exercise some caution. Mainly the red flags are showing up on the shorter term time frames, such as the daily and the weekly time frames. Whereas in the last video I did, a lot of the red flags I was showing were on that longer term monthly time frame. But we are seeing some red flags nonetheless, and I would exercise some caution in the markets in the coming weeks. I haven't come to the conclusion that the stock market is going to crash or anything, but I do believe we may see some more downside coming up in the coming days to the coming weeks. So exercise a bit of caution in the markets. We are seeing some follow through from the bears in the futures thus far, but nothing significant, 0.4% to the downside. But gold is taking a big hit today, down 4% gold, and that's quite notable. And I took a look at silver as well, and silver is also down over 4%. Commodities are taking a bit of a hit. Why is the market showing some weakness right now? Why is gold and silver showing some weakness right now? I believe it has to deal with the jobs report, and the jobs report essentially said the economy is very strong. And if the economy is very strong, that can actually translate to being bad news, because that would likely translate to the government and the Federal Reserve raising interest rates faster than expected, and inflation rising faster and more than expected as well. So having a good and growing and very strong economy can have its pros and its cons, and there needs to be a little bit of a balance. The market doesn't want to see the economy too strong, because if the economy is too strong, that means more inflation, that means higher interest rates, and that's obviously not good for the markets. So what the market ideally wants to see is a good economy, but not an overheating economy, and that's where the problems can start to come into play. And that's why we're seeing some downside in gold and the NASDAQ, and gold is definitely taking a big hit here. Gold is definitely heavily affected by interest rates, because gold doesn't pay interest when you own gold. So sometimes people may rather just own cash in that case, because they get paid interest on their cash, and I believe that is why commodities are taking a hit right now. So even though cash is subject to inflation, I guess the power of interest overpowers the inflation, I guess, in that case. I don't know all the dynamics to it, but that's essentially what I'm thinking right now. So let's take a look at the NASDAQ and some of the red flags that I was seeing. I pointed it out Friday on my Instagram stories. A little late. I apologize for that. I should be making these videos more often. When I do the subscription, I plan to go live often, not every single day, but I plan to go live often in the mornings. I plan to give out a weekly, very detailed report on the markets, top trade opportunities, top trends, and all stuff like that. So I'm dropping a big sale next week if you want to take a look into that on the subscription and my course. And I'm definitely going to do my best to guide you guys in the right direction so that we can all make significant profits in the market. Hopefully, I don't promise anything, but I'm going to do my best. And if you guys like my analysis on here, and if you think I help you out on here, I definitely will be helping you out a lot in terms of my course and my upcoming subscription service. So I'm doing a big sale in about a week. A huge, heavy discount, and it's a sale. A lot of guys say they do sales. This is a sale because I haven't done a sale for 3 months. A lot of guys say it's on sale, but it's always on sale. No, I haven't done a sale for 3 months. This is the opportunity if you are interested. I'm not going to talk too much more about it. Let's take a look at the charts. At the NASDAQ over here, part of my concern is that I was seeing a little bit of this rising wedge type of pattern on the weekly on the NASDAQ. And it's not super clear, super obvious right now, but the formation is somewhat there. And I would exercise a bit of caution simply because of this. You could see that the NASDAQ has been hitting higher highs week after week. It hit a higher high this week than this week slightly, and a higher high this week than this week slightly. And when you get a break of resistance without follow through or a fake out in the upper wick of profit taking, it could be a red flag. That's one of the red flags I'm seeing, is that potential rising wedge over there and the break of resistance without follow through and the fake out above the highs with the upper wick of profit taking. We also are overbought on the weekly time frame over here slightly, but we're right around that 70 mark. We are quite a bit overbought on the monthly at an 80 RSI on the monthly, and on the daily we're seeing a divergence on the RSI. And if you check my last video on how to spot a stock market crash, I mentioned to you exactly what the divergence can suggest, and it can be a bearish thing, because essentially what the divergence is that the market has been hitting new highs, where it hit a high, another high, and a higher high here, slightly, but a higher high. Meanwhile, the RSI is hitting lower highs, and that's what a divergence is, when the RSI is going in the opposite direction, essentially, or not the opposite, but it's showing weakness in comparison to the trend of the price. So we're seeing a divergence on the RSI, which is a red flag over there. We also saw a bearish MACD cross a couple weeks ago on the daily, which never turned bullish as of now. We're seeing break of resistance without follow through. We're seeing that rising wedge type of pattern on the weekly. And so those are some of the red flags that I'm looking at right now. And as of now in the futures, we're seeing follow through to the downside. And obviously bulls don't want to see that. We're trading below that red line, showing some weakness. And yeah, those are some of the red flags that I'm seeing in the NASDAQ as of now on this 12-month, 1 year time frame, where each candlestick represents 1 year. You can see that the NASDAQ is significantly overbought on the yearly. It's at 94 and almost 95 RSI on the yearly. Now, I don't know how much significance the yearly RSI has, as I haven't really seen it play out before. But 95 RSI is definitely very high, and the market is definitely extremely overextended on the yearly, and it is quite a bit above that red line, QQQ, and the NASDAQ. So exercise some caution in the markets is what I'm saying. I'm not saying the market is going to crash. What I'm saying is I am seeing some red flags right now in the short term, and it looks like the bears might be able to see a decent amount more follow through in the coming days to the coming weeks. That's what I'm seeing on the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones is very similar. Rising wedge type of pattern over here, really stuck around these highs, or it's really unable to confidently push past that $35,000 mark, 35,000 mark on the Dow Jones. And when you look at the monthly chart, there's a potential rising wedge on the Dow Jones monthly chart, and that could be quite bearish. So I would exercise some caution over here, because the market goes up and down. The market doesn't just go up. And look, it's pretty much just been going up as far as it looks, month after month, setting higher lows, especially on the S&P 500 as well. But we do have these pullbacks in the market. The market isn't straight up. The overall direction has been up, but there is these big pullbacks sometimes. And we haven't had a real pullback in a while. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. Once again, I'm saying I am seeing some red flags. So exercise some caution. It really depends whether this breaks bearish or bullish. And that's really what I'm looking for. If I saw this break below down to here and move down towards that green line on the monthly on the Dow Jones, which is the 8-month period moving average, 8-period moving average on the monthly, that would most definitely be a red flag to me if it broke this support over here from last month's low, which is around 33,755. If we started breaking around that level, that would definitely be at least a medium to longer term concern for me. Sorry about that, on the markets. So that's what I'm looking at. Dow Jones also overbought on the monthly. We got a bearish MACD cross on the weekly on the Dow Jones, and that's quite clear. And we haven't gotten a bearish MACD cross on the Dow Jones since before the COVID crash, or since right around the COVID crash in February 2020. It's the MACD has stayed bullish until just a few weeks ago, and that could be a red flag for the markets. So sorry to scare you guys or anything like that. What I'm saying is I am seeing quite a few red flags on the market right now. And now we're seeing more follow through from the bears in the futures. We're getting a lot of downside on some of the commodities. The economy appears to be overheating. We're seeing a lot of signs of inflation. We have some concerns in the market. And while I would like to be a bull, I don't like to say any bad news. I really don't. I don't want to say any bad news. I want to try and stay bullish. But at the end of the day, what I have to try and do for you guys is analyze the charts and not be biased towards either side. So at the end of the day, I'm going to analyze the charts to the best of my ability. And as of now, the charts are saying, watch out. I'm going to leave it at that for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to follow me on Instagram at 10baggerstocks. Check out my website, 10baggerstocks.com. I got so much more I'm planning for you guys. And, you know, if we team up together, we work together, you guys join me on my subscription. And I'm going to do my best so that we can all make significant profits over the coming year. That is my intent. Have a great day, guys. Remember to like this video. Please press that like button. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.